Welcome everyone to tonight's Expert in the House webinar.
Hello, hello.
We're Melissa and Bart Kotter, so we're your lucky hosts for this evening. Wherever you're joining us from around Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, we want to welcome you to tonight's webinar. And the purpose of this webinar is to take you through a Discover ASEA presentation. And in particular, we're going to be running through that when it came to the questions that we asked when we were looking into ASEA for the first time. So yeah, we're excited to get started.
So let's see, just click on the next slide here. Here we are. So what we're going to share with you tonight is what's being called, not by us, but the experts, the guys in the white coats, is the most significant health, anti-aging, and athletic breakthrough of our lifetime. It is very, very exciting what we've got. It's a cellular health technology, a product of technology that's absolutely transforming lives, making a huge difference in the quality of people's health in their life. So as we look at this, there's really 6 reasons why people take a look at ASEA or join ASEA, get involved at whatever level, and whatever your reason is, let's just take a look at what those reasons might be. So the first reason is perhaps a health issue, a health concern. Maybe you're dealing with something that you're looking for an answer for. The second thing would be other people's health challenges. Maybe you know somebody who you care about, someone that you love, and you're looking for some solutions, something that might be able to help them. And truly, if that's the reason, you're absolutely in the right place. You know, in fact, on that note, you're going to think of people as we go through this presentation that need to know about this technology. I'd highly recommend getting a notepad, a pen and paper, and write down some things, take some notes, but also consciously think of who needs to know about this technology, because we have a gift and we need to share it with the world. It's certainly the way that we feel. The other thing, do you know anybody who'd like to look 23% younger in 28 days? Say aye. Most people would. We're going to show you some results of some scientific studies, because this product, this technology can truly help you make you look and feel younger. The next thing would be athletic performance. What would an athlete do to have a competitive edge, particularly if it's legal? This technology is making a huge difference for athletes, giving them a competitive edge, perfectly legally as well. So with endurance and recovery, mental stamina. Now, one of the things for us, because we've always been pretty proactive with our health, but that is really a key reason for us, was a proactive approach to health. I remember a doctor years ago, he said, may you never know what you're preventing. And how powerful is that really? Do you know people who have all of a sudden their lives have been turned upside down overnight because they had a stroke, a heart attack, an aneurysm, some sort of a health challenge? Maybe their diet was off, and all of a sudden they ended up with diabetes. Whatever the case might be, wouldn't it be better to prevent those challenges in the first place? And I've never seen anything that can be that's more proactive approach to health than what we're going to share with you tonight. And then also for us would be the business model. Being able to work from home, being able to work with who you want, where you want, when you want. This business model is truly amazing. If that's something that you're interested in, then we would invite you to take a look at that too. So what is your reason? I know for us it would be 5 and 6, but really it's all of them. And whatever the reason is that you're here joining us tonight, I promise you you're going to get the answers that you came here for.
So we wanted to share a little bit about our story when it comes to the transition into this industry, and mine came through a very big wake-up call. So in 1995, I was working with Big Pharma, and I had a and I was basically selling my soul, and I knew it at the time, but I had to pay bills, so I stuck with it. And I ended up getting really sick and found myself in intensive care, something I must have picked up from the hospitals and surgeries I was visiting. So I had meningitis and encephalitis, and the nurses wanted to administer me with the drug I was selling. So I knew all about it. I knew what it was designed to do, and I knew I may not have had a chance of walking out of there, given the state of health I was in, if I said yes to it. So I walked out of the hospital a different person. I made an absolute decision that I was going to spend the rest of my life helping people to understand wellness and take responsibility for their health. And that took me into the chiropractic industry, where I had a business partner who was a chiropractor. and then set up fantastic clinics in far north Queensland, but I found myself extremely time poor, which a lot of small business owners do find themselves in that situation. So maybe like you, someone approached you, in this case a patient approached me, told me about this industry. I was just finishing off my MBA, looking for something else out there, and I completely jumped in straight away, and here we are 17 years later, and we'll share with you as we journey through tonight's presentation what we love so much and why we chose ASEA.
Yeah, my story in this industry begins about 24 years ago. Actually, I was the business representative for the United States Chamber of Commerce at a really rough territory, Maui, Hawaii. My territory was Maui and Kauai County. I was talking with thousands of business owners about the things that really affects their business. I love free enterprise. I love people who are willing to, kind of step out and take some responsibility for their own life. But the thing that I realized was that, as long as you work for somebody else, your job's really only as secure as your employer's mood. And even though I had a good job, it really was a good job. The fact was I was going in reverse financially. I was just seemed like the credit card debt, this hole was getting deeper and deeper. And quite frankly, I was getting kind of scared. I was getting nervous. I was looking at what my options might be. I had a friend of mine call me up and said, "Hey, Bart, I found something, breakthrough technology." It wasn't this company. It was a different company, but it was some amazing products. And I realized it was the kind of thing that I really did want to share with other people. That's what we do every day anyway. I jumped in with that company. I never looked back. Been full-time in this industry, and I love the fact of being able to work from home, make a difference, and help other people. And we'll share a little bit more of the story, how we got involved specifically with this company.
So here are the questions that we asked when we were actually taking a look at ASEA. And the good thing is, does ASEA operate with integrity, and is the company financially stable? And when I say the good thing about it is they absolutely are, and we'll explain why.
All right, so bringing us back to ASEA. So since I had been involved with this industry, I had a number of, that company that I was with kind of lost its way after having a good run for 19 years. Mm-hmm. But some of the leaders from that company had called me up. They said, "Bart, you need to take a look at this company called ASEA." And truthfully, I really just didn't get it at first until finally they invited me to fly to Salt Lake City. They said, "You need to meet the founders of this company." And I remember sitting in the boardroom and shaking this gentleman's hand right here, Vertus Norton. Truly one of these unique individuals that when you meet them, you just know that they're good down to the soul. Vertus had the unique opportunity of being invited to be on the board of directors of a company that had this technology before. It was through his connection, Tyler Norton, his son, both of which are, by the way, were Fortune 50 executives. And Vertus was the vice president of strategic business development for Kraft Food. Previously, he had just retired, and Tyler was a Fortune 50 executive in the financial industry. Well, through a series of events, this biotech company was having some financial challenges, and Vertus ended up acquiring this technology because he understood what it was. And I tell you, there's at the bottom of this slide, you'll see a website, ASEAGenesis.com. I would like to invite you to watch the whole story, but to just summarize the story, I'll tell you that these gentlemen turned down generational wealth from a pharmaceutical company that wanted this technology. In fact, at this point, there's been numerous pharmaceutical companies, but because of these guys' integrity, they wanted to make sure that this product and this technology didn't get shelved, that it was out on the market for people for people to benefit from, because it's absolutely profound. Just like the slide started with in the beginning of this being an amazing breakthrough. And they didn't want to risk it going through 10 years of research and then possibly being shelved. So that's why we have the opportunity to share this with you today. I know that we feel very lucky and very fortunate to be involved with this company and this technology at this time.
The company is really stable. They've generated over 500 million to date. They have experienced significant growth every single year since launch, and they've actually been profitable and debt-free since the seventh month mark in the business. So sales will definitely exceed 100 million this year, and they're projected to reach over $1 billion within the next 5 to 7 years. That wave is coming. It's absolutely indicative, particularly when we travel through Asia and notice what's happening out there with ASEA and its global expansion. We're really excited to see what's ahead. So ASEA is positioned ahead of the growth that will come across three really huge industries: the health and wellness, athletic performance, and anti-aging industries, all trillion-dollar industries in their own right. So we're thankfully positioned for huge success and long-term sustainability. So the next thing we wanted to know was to make sure the products were unique, we were protected by patents on them, and that they actually worked.
So that's one of the things that really caught my attention, because when I first heard about this, I thought, well, maybe this is just another fancy water, maybe it's some kind of another nutritional. There's lots of great products on the market. But when I realized this was really, truly special, this is a category creator. Nobody else has what we have. This technology is protected by literally dozens of international patents. So we have what no one else has. This technology does what no other technology can do. And there's not a product on the market that can impact people's health and life like what these redox molecules actually can do. And that's what we're going to talk about next, is exactly what it is. So as we get into this, I just want to share with you a little story. Before I do that, I want to just throw out a little disclaimer that ASEA'S products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. And as I get into that, I just want to go ahead and move into the next slide. I want to share with you a little story. So as I'm sitting in the boardroom when I flew to Salt Lake City, and I'm meeting the atomic medical physicists, the founders of the company, just feeling who these gentlemen are, what their soul is, what their purpose, their integrity is, I started thinking of people, as I mentioned to you, and one of the people I thought of was a gentleman named Dan Doyle. This is Dan when he was a bit younger. He's 24 in this picture. You can see he's pretty fit. He owned gyms. He's been quite entrepreneurial. He had a number of businesses. I think that's a second place trophy. Unfortunately, wasn't the number one, but it's pretty good for Australia. Well, what happened was Danny at age 44, still going to the gym and feeling good, but he found himself in a really serious situation. He was spending most of his time at the hospital, was his second home. You can see he doesn't have any hair on his head. He was going through some very severe treatments, and he was diagnosed with, he would say, two of the bad kinds of this particular ailment. His friend that he's standing here next to is a 23-year-old rugby player, one of Australia's best. I can't recall his name. He was had the same similar challenge that you're supposed to recover from. He didn't, and Danny did. Danny is a fighter. He got on all the best nutritional supplements that he could, the superfoods, but nevertheless, about a year and a half later, this is what Danny looked like. And you can see he's not really healthy. This is a picture of Danny when he flew to Salt Lake to meet these gentlemen. You can see the red and yellow around his eyes. His skin doesn't look real healthy. Well, what actually happened, there was a meeting where Dan was able to meet Dr. Samuelson and the founders and so forth. ASEA was on the table. We were knocking it back like crazy. He probably drank a half a bottle that day. And I remember that night, he just broke out in all these pimples on his chest and his back. And he thought, I'm having a reaction from the flight, perhaps. He didn't know what was going on. Obviously, his body, even though he'd been on an extremely clean diet, was just dumping toxins so quickly it was coming out through his skin. There was 2 days later, I remember we were at this amusement park, and he said, man, I feel like Superman. He said, I'm going to try something. I didn't know what he was doing. He sprinted across the car park and probably ran 100 meters, came back, and he had a big smile on his face. He said, if I would have tried to do that 2 days ago, I would be on my hands and knees gasping for air because of the damage to his lungs from the treatment that he had undergone. So he saw results quite quickly, but what's more impressive here is this is a picture of Danny a year later. Clean bill of health from his doctors, out making a difference, sharing this technology with the world, and feeling 100%. Even sports injuries from years ago have gone because of the benefits of this technology.
So in order to understand the technology we're going to present you with, called reading, it's important to look at health at the cellular level, because that's what we're in the business of. We live and die at the cellular level. So often when we don't feel healthy, our cells have known for quite some time. And when they are healthy, we're healthy. So it's absolutely critical to have a solid, stable foundation. Molecules make up cells, but these molecules in particular are amazing because they're designed to detect imbalances, rogue cells that have pulled away from the communication network in the body. They detect them. They then protect those rogue cells. They make a decision with the neighbouring cells, okay, we're going to repair this cell, or are we going to replace it altogether? Are we going to eat it, basically, destroy it? It's called apoptosis. Really, really critical process in the body. In fact, this process happens in a millionth of a second in the body, and you wouldn't last to the end of the next few slides without the function of redox signaling molecules in your body. So molecules make up cells. We've got 75 plus trillion cells in our body. Cells form tissues, which form organs, which form systems, which makes us all uniquely who we are. So if we're unbalanced at the redox signaling level, we're not functioning at 100%. And long term, that's not a good position to be in. Because these molecules regulate and repair every single major system in the body. Not a single system operates independently to these molecules, whether it's cardiovascular, immune, endocrine, gastrointestinal. It's all 100% attributed to the regulation and repair redox signaling molecules. So what does it actually mean? When we look at what the body does for us, you'll sit there and be really grateful, because I bet you didn't know that messages travel from the human brain along nerves at 322 kilometres an hour. And for an adult to take a single step, it uses 200 muscles. That's a lot of coordination. And the lining of a person's stomach, interestingly, is replaced every 4 to 5 days to prevent it from digesting itself. And the adult human body is made up of 7 octillion atoms. Atoms form molecules which form cells. And the human blood circulates 19,000 kilometres a day. So I've got to say, none of this can happen without redox signaling molecules that regulate and repair all these systems. So they have a vital role, as I've mentioned, and this is an amazing body that we've been given that we really need to take care of. Truly amazing.
So here's one of the biggest challenges. As we age, we produce fewer and fewer of these redox molecules. So starting around puberty, as a little toddler, they heal quite quickly. They fall down, tumble, they heal very quickly. But starting around puberty, we produce about 10% less of these regenerative, these communication molecules every decade. So let's say, for example, I just turned 55. I'm maybe producing 50%, 40-50% of what I used to produce. And if you're 70 or 80, maybe you're only producing 10 or 20%. What if we could show someone who's 70 how they can heal like a teenager again? It'd be like having the fountain of youth, maybe the Holy Grail, and that's pretty exciting, because that's what we've got here, the ability to show people how to heal like they did when they were a kid. And these molecules are fundamental to healing. Bottom line is, if you can't fix the cell, you can't get well. And if you think about disease, illness of any kind, it's because it's all cellular. The cells are not communicating properly. Our body is designed to help heal itself. And we just need these molecules to help the communication happen more effectively.
So now you can understand really why this is such a breakthrough. Particularly since, as I mentioned, the process in the body, these molecules need to be used within a millionth of a second. So how on earth did they stabilise these molecules outside the body? Well, it took scientists 17 years, and finally Dr. Gary Samuelson, whom I'll refer to in a minute, he managed to pull off a miracle. So the process happens at the manufacturing facility in Utah. It is over a 3-day process, 3 steps. Step 1, they take pristine salt water, the same that's found inside our cells. Step 2, then they break the salt water down into free floating atoms of sodium chloride, hydrogen and oxygen, and then the atoms are restructured into these stabilized molecules. So there's a photograph there of where it all happens at the manufacturing facility.
So let's just talk a little bit about the product. So this is the flagship product that ASEA created in the very beginning. This bottle right here, 32 ounces, has literally trillions and trillions of these stabilized redox signaling molecules. And that really is where the miracle is, because the body, to have these fleeting, is like you said, where they last literally about a millionth of a second, where your body has to use them or they turn back into the substance they're created in, salt water. To have them stabilized in a form where you can actually put them on a shelf, drink them and use them that was the miracle. This is 15, 20 years ahead of its time, according to a lot of the specialists. Now, what was actually happening is people were taking this liquid ASEA, they were putting it in spray bottles, they were spraying it in their eyes, spraying it on their skin, seeing amazing benefits from all those things. They knew they had an application for a skincare product, and so what they did is they developed Renew 28. And this Renew 28 is exactly the same technology. It's simply a concentrated version of these molecules that you use on your skin, wherever. So it's cellular health from the inside out with the ASEA, and it's cellular health from the outside in with Renew 28 and the rest of the skincare line. Obviously, you can see that they've expanded the skincare line. Now, the way that we know that this isn't just expensive salt water, for example, is this laboratory of Bioagiletics. They certify, verify, validate that every batch of ASEA is in fact redox certified. So that's really important because now that we know exactly what it is. The other thing to realize is that this is completely safe. It's literally as safe as swallowing your own saliva because this is native to your body. These molecules go beyond being natural. 100% safe, non-toxic, and all the other safety things that you can see there as well. So as we look at the full product line, this is pretty amazing because the skincare industry is about 20 times larger than the vitamin industry, believe it or not. That kind of caught my attention a while back. So what's actually happened is they've increased this. So the two products that have the redox signaling molecules are the Renew 28 and then a serum. This would be something you'd use for the challenging spots. It's literally liquid gold. This is the only redox signaling skincare system in the world. And it really starts with this first one on the left, which is this foaming cleanser. Guys, you can just use that as a foaming shaving cream, which is what I do. Then you apply the Renew 28, put the serum on where you want a little bit of extra attention, where maybe you have some sun damage or some wrinkles or that sort of thing. And then you wrap it up with this last one, which is a moisturizer, which is really, really nice, by the way. Totally unisex. I love the stuff. I use it. And makes a beautiful skincare line. Now, truly seeing is believing. So let me just show you some before and after results. And the first one over here, I like to point this one out because all of these, they call it Renew 28 because healthy skin renews itself every 28 days. But Raydun, I forgot her name for a second. She took a before photo, obviously, here. And then this was actually not 4 weeks, but it was just 3 weeks later, she took this photo. And it was a massive difference. She actually didn't think she was getting very good results until she saw the before and the after photo. So whether it's the redness and the irritation or even the scarring that comes from that problem, the sores on Cindy Lou's face or just your everyday wrinkles, we can see that there's tremendous results. And Melissa's going to go through some of the scientific validation that shows that too. This is for the whole skincare line. You can see what a huge difference again too, literally turning back the hands of time and all that aging from the sun and different things that have happened. It really gives us a chance to give your skin the health. Now, the thing that's cool too is to realize, we're showing these pictures, but realize that the ASEA is doing exactly the same thing on the inside too. It's just easier to see the results on the outside. I love this story with Rosie. She's, let's see, 84, I believe.
In these photos.
Yeah. And she went into her chiropractor was the one that got her on this product. And she goes in 7 weeks later and she says, I want to go ahead and cancel all my orders. And he says, well, why is that, Rosie? She said, well, it obviously isn't doing anything for me. She didn't think she was getting very good results. So they took another photo of her, and obviously you can see that incredible difference. In fact, it doesn't even look like the same person. Massive difference. Athletes are having profound difference because what we're seeing is an increase in endurance, mental stamina, the recovery, with the Renew 28 on their legs and arms and so forth, the lactic acid buildup, just everything, it really helps to work deep in the tissues and the muscles as well. So don't just think of the Renew 28 as just for wrinkles, for example. This is for the whole body. Gold medal athletes, all these sort of things. So again, it's both of these products working together for the athletes to give them the ultimate best results as well.
ASEA are launching a full range of supplements this year, and the first one that they let out for a pre-release is ASEA Via Source, because 90% of ASEA associates are already buying supplements. So nutritional industry is massive. It'll be $220 billion per year industry by 2020. So nutrient supplement. It contains vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, organic superfoods, trace minerals, and all work together to support cellular health and general wellness overall. And the trace minerals are absolutely amazing because they're from ancient plant deposits from the land, which is from red algae, and the sea, which is off Iceland, the shores of Iceland. So a really amazing and unique combination that you will not find in any other supplement anywhere in the world. And it's been expertly formulated to work in tandem with the ASEA redox molecules as the base. So ASEA have been really clever in which they've used the base as redox and built up from there. So redox provides the labour, and ASEA via source provides the materials, and Bart's going to explain a little bit more about what that means in a minute. So a good rule of thumb is if it came from a plant, eat it, and if it was made in a plant, don't. It's so true, because the reason why we need to supplement is for a really long time, we've all known that our soils are depleted, particularly here in Australia. My first degree was in soil chemistry, and I knew that there was a problem 30 years ago. So it means that our food's even more depleted today than it was years ago, depending upon where you source your food from. Which means if our food's depleted, we're depleted. So the type of supplements that you really actually need to take a look at are ones that have a real quality of ingredients. You don't want to be putting synthetic vitamins, minerals or ingredients into your body, the ones that are made in a plant. It's nature versus synthetics. You want it to be 100% plant-based. And you want a broad spectrum of nutrition. So you want a diversity of ingredients to be able to address many areas of the cellular level of your cellular health. And as I mentioned, in this particular formula, there's trace minerals and it's organic. And then you want the materials to be bioavailable so that they can actually be used specifically and absorbed really quickly and put to work. So Bart will explain what that means with this slide.
I just want to mention on the ASEA, we've taken vitamins for years, our whole life. This stuff is really, really good. We notice a difference in mental clarity, our energy, our moods are just level. It's really amazing stuff. So this is a really great way to explain this. I love this concept. This is how Dr. Gary Samuelson kind of explained it. So here's the way to look at this. We've got these two contractors here. You want to think of those as the redox molecules. In fact, there are two types, reductant and oxidant molecules. So we've got two building contractors here. And what they do is they're the signaling messengers. They deliver, what they do is they read the blueprints, for example. They run back and forth and they deliver the messages to the subcontractors, the workers. They read the DNA plans. They push the genetic buttons that create the workers. So without these contractors, without these redox signaling molecules, you've got nothing, really. So where do the redox molecules come from? Well, they're generated by this little power plant called the mitochondria. And the mitochondria, in every cell of our body, there's anywhere from 10 to maybe as many as 5,000 mitochondria. They create energy, ATP, adenosine triphosphate is what it's called. That kicks off these little molecules that read the blueprints. And then the ASEA that Melissa just talked about, that is the micronutrients. Of course, that also is the food that we eat and everything we're ingesting. That's the building materials. That's the bricks. That's the mortar. That's the timber and all the things that you need to build your building in this example. So that's a good overview. Now, the other thing that we want to point out is to set correct expectations. Remember, this is native to the body, so it's not going to be like taking a big shot of some caffeinated product that you feel the surge of energy and you go, I feel it working. For some people, they do notice some big differences with their energy and some big shifts in their body. But for a lot of people, it takes a period of time. So it's important to benchmark your results, kind of know how you feel, how you're sleeping, how your energy is, all those kind of things. And by the way, it's important to do that because as you start feeling better, people often forget how they used to feel. So what we find is that over 90 days, that you'll find about 95% of people will notice results, so long as they benchmark those results. So just be prepared to give it the time that it needs to see those results. The one thing, I'm going to go back to this, I can absolutely guarantee that the product works 100% of the time on 100% of the people because that's just what it does. They are the redox molecules.
So we then wanted to make sure that the science was fully validated so that when we were speaking to people, professionals, health professionals, whomever, we could actually back up ASEA'S products with science that was validated by third-party experts. So let's have a look at what the experts are saying. Anne-Louise Gittleman, she's written over 30 books. She said, ASEA, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. She's actually changed her 30 books to include these molecules now. She's edited or updated her books. And Dr. Gary Samuelson, the gentleman who created this miracle, he stabilized these molecules outside the body. He's an atomic medical physicist. He said this technology has the advanced potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. So really powerful. Many experts are speaking up about ASEA and these molecules, and there's just two really important ones. So just going on a little more to look at the other companies that ASEA have partnered with, essentially, to conduct these third-party randomized placebo-controlled studies. We've got Stevens and Associates and Bioagilitics, which Bart mentioned. Stevens and Associates and Dermatest at the bottom here, they've conducted tests on the skincare range. Then there's the North Carolina Research Campus, Toro Laboratories, and Pacific Northwest National Laboratories. Toro Laboratories have produced an amazing study that focuses on genetics. So these molecules have been proven to activate genes across these 5 important areas: immune system, inflammation, hormonal, digestive, and vascular health. So they conducted an 8-week trial with 60 participants, and the mean age group was 35 years. And currently research shows that environmental factors, stress, diet, air, aging, actually turns off our genes. So the ASEA group experienced a 20 to 31% positive shift in the activation of 5 genetic pathways. Now keep in mind 2% is massive when it comes to a study, let alone this high percentage. And these genes are actually pivotal in activating dozens of other genetic pathways that can significantly impact our health. So they have a ripple effect. This study can be found at ASEAScience.com, and I encourage you to look it up, read up on it, because it's absolutely groundbreaking and inspirational. So I mentioned these 2 companies who've conducted some studies. This one on the left here is a 4-week study with the Renew 28. You can see an improvement in skin cell renewal, which is turning over. That's the anti-aging component, and blood flow. Blood carries oxygen into the cells and toxins out. So you can see how important that is. And also smoothness, wrinkle depth, and elasticity, really big improvements there. This study was conducted over 8 weeks on the Renew Advanced Complete skincare line, and you can see the massive improvement there with the fine lines, 100%. Radiance as well, and photoaging, which to me is extremely important to Australians since we have a climate that's so damaging to the sun. The great news is that after 4 weeks, 90% of the participants wanted to purchase the products. They didn't know what it was, but they absolutely wanted it. There's been loads of studies written on redox signaling molecules, and 160,000 studies actually. There's been tons of books. So the product and the technology are actually not on trial. The science is fully validated by third-party validation. And here's where you can go to have a look at more information, as I mentioned before. This article is interesting. It was produced in the Huffington Post a couple of years ago. It lists the 5 emerging technologies in science that will shape our lives in the coming years. You can see redox signaling technology is number 4 on the list. Now, this is America's largest online newspaper. So it's important to then realise, okay, well, how on earth are these products marketed?
So this is pretty cool. When you look and analyze at all the different ways of marketing a product, you know, from TV and radio, mobile phones. In fact, some of these are quite surprising how ineffective they really are. But if you ask anybody who's been in business, they will tell you, my experience is virtually every time, word of mouth is without question the very best form of marketing. And the fact is that we all participate in word of mouth marketing, whether we get paid for it or not. We go to a good movie, we go to a good restaurant. What do? We tell our friends, we tell people about it. And that's, of course, because this product, if you saw it on a shelf, you really wouldn't understand what it was. This is a product that needs to be told in a message. And so that's exactly what ASEA has chosen to do, is use word of mouth as the form of marketing. So let's just take a look at where we are currently. We're right now in 36 countries and expanding. Less than 0.1% of the people in these markets have any idea what redox signaling molecules are. So needs to be educated. We're in Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, the Philippines. So the Asian market is a very exciting market for us and considered the gateway to Asia. So, even if you don't know someone in Asia, believe me, you know people who do. And so it's really quite this simple. Just like when I thought of Danny, for example, Dan Doyle, and he knew people that needed the product and technology. And we thought of other people that knew people who knew people and so forth. And over this period of time, our business is now in 41 countries and thousands of people that are sharing this technology, changing lives, making a difference, just like how we help Danny. And so it doesn't matter whether it's the sickest of the sick or the fittest of the fit, or people looking for prevention, or people looking for something worthwhile that they can share with other people. We've got a gift that we can share with them. You can create distribution channels in America, Asia, European distribution channels, and your business, you get a portion of that business that's created through those people sharing it with other people.
Some people like to know what's the cost. Well, to us, particularly with what we've run through, and you understand what you have your hands on, this really is an investment in your health. And if you're here to look into time and money freedom, it's an investment into future business model as well. So they've got some phenomenal enrollment packs for our benefit. They have free products and list the best pricing. There's a personal pack, business packs, and an entrepreneur pack, depending upon what your reasons are for doing ASEA and your vision for your future when it comes to building this business. So we encourage people to start with the business combo pack because it has a great selection of products and it has an $84 added value to it as well. So the person who invited you on the webinar can walk you through those packs. They are a limited time only pack offering, and they're brilliant to help set you up for success. So what now? Where do you go from here?
So look, just like we started, our goal is to help you to achieve whatever you're interested in achieving. Maybe if you just want to get some products for your own personal use, recommend getting on the ASEA, the Renew 28, and some of the ASEA via Source so that you're really getting the benefit of all the product line. The second thing, maybe you're interested in helping a few people and making an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. And we can certainly show you how to do that. And then perhaps if you've ever, if you're looking for a real opportunity where you can create a lifestyle income, this is like nothing that we've ever seen before. And particularly when you look at the timing of where we're positioned right now with the global expansion and the need to get this out to the world. The thing I love about it is for every dollar that you earn, it represents making a difference, changing people's lives. So whatever your reason is, we just encourage you to get started. And the thing to remember is that this is simple. Anybody can do it, and it absolutely works. So get together with the person that invited you on this presentation tonight. By making a few introductions and opening some doors, your reward is a percentage of the volume in your distribution channels paid weekly as ongoing residual income. That's the beautiful part about this is ASEA has a very high retention rate, meaning when people understand what these products do, they'll want to keep doing, ordering them every single month. I know that we'll never be without it because we know what it does. So don't wait to change your life and the lives of others. Go ahead and get started.
We like to do this exercise every now and then. We certainly did when it came to ASEA. Picture yourself old in a rocking chair later on in life and looking back and sort of seeing your life as a 10,000-foot view perspective. You have an opportunity to rewrite your future and to rewrite your story right now. The one thing that we knew we didn't want to do is figure out what we wanted to do when we were in this situation. So it's exciting. We've got the whole future ahead of us. ASEA is absolutely such a phenomenal company with the most amazing products. We feel truly blessed. Every day is a new adventure for us. We've met people from all around the world whom we now consider friends. And all it took was making that one decision. There's plenty of reasons why not to do something. All you need is one reason to do it. Because quite simply, these molecules have to get out there, have to get to the people who need them. And everybody over the age of adolescence is deficient in these molecules. So make the right decision for you, get educated, and move forward, because we'd certainly love to see you around, and we're excited to know that we've been able to bring this to you tonight.
So Vertus Norton, he stood on the stage. This is a convention a little while back, and he says, "We are at the start of something big with great purpose, and right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world." And we're on a quest to help change the world with him. We're quite honored to be a part of that group involved with amazing people.
Definitely.
So that pretty much wraps up the presentation. But Melissa has some announcements.
Yeah,
like we do.
Yeah. Just you'd want to be kept abreast of these. There's a Reach for the Beach incentive.
So one thing that's really fun with this company, I love that you get to associate with amazing people, have fun. They've created an incentive here called Reach for the Beach, and this is in the back office when you register or get with the person who sponsored you. They'll give you all the details. But basically, just by sharing this with other people, creating some volume, creating points, you can win a trip up to as much as about $5,400 in value in the South Pacific. I think it's going to be in Vanuatu, and be a fun way to hang out with some great people.
Next week, we have Ambassador Diamond Mouse Sword, who will be the expert in the house. So that's June 27th at the same time. So get your teams prepared to listen to him, because Mal is an absolute master and expert in this industry. A great guy.
Yeah. Bring your guests on the call, because he gives a beautiful story.
He does. And you can find these recordings and of your other favourite diamond leaders across Australia at redoxdiamonds.com. And we've got an amazing convention coming up.
Yeah, so this is really cool. Melissa already talked about some of the breakthrough nutritional products that are coming out. There's 2 more that they're going to be unveiling. This is going to be a phenomenal event. It's in Texas, and it's going to be at the Gaylord event, September 6th through the 9th. ASEA throws an amazing party, so you won't want to miss that.
So for newly enrolled associates within the last 90 days, you can actually purchase a discounted ticket, but you need to ring the 1-800 number in Australia or the 1808 number in the US to be able to claim that heavily discounted price. It's $179.
As opposed to $300.
Yeah, US dollars.
Yeah.
There's the Gaylord. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like a city unto itself. You don't need to go anywhere else. And we really can't wait. We've also got a team event, but get together with the person who invited you, as we mentioned, and there'll be meetings throughout that night. So in February, we have the biggest annual event in Australia. It's at the Gold Coast Convention and Exhibition Centre. It's an Envision training with founder Tyler Norton. He is a massive draw card, someone you won't want to miss. And then followed by a full day event on the Saturday. There's super early bird tickets only until the 31st of July, and they're $79 US. So get your tickets before the super early bird threshold is up, because you don't want to be paying $129 US after January 9th. And then February 17th on the Sunday, we have a field-driven peak performance training with keynote speaker Dr. Darren Weissman. He's a best-selling author and developer of a specific chiropractic health technique. Tickets, again, are at an ultra early bird price up until June 30th, so you haven't got long on that, which is $49 Australian dollars. There's an event fee tied into that as well. This
event will have all the top leaders in Australia.
Yeah.
As well as some leaders from the U.S. that will be sharing some ideas and tips on how to share this with other people.
Absolutely. So that's it from us tonight. If you have any questions, we'll stop the recording and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. We're excited you joined us. Bring people together for the 8 o'clock time slot, and we'll run through this again.
Thank you.